All right, Heidi, what do you say? We take it to the max. How are you, my babe? It is so good to have you here. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you again. Miss your face very much.
Right? You too. You too. Let's walk people through who you are and how we met. So, Heidi Belnay, you and I connected at the New Jersey MBA conference a couple of months ago. But before we get into that story, walk me through what you do and what your kind of progression into this industry has been.
For sure. So I have been in the mortgage space for about 12 and a half years now. Like all of us, I landed here on accident. I was supposed to be a elementary school teacher, actually, found in posting on Craigslist for a job at an appraisal company. I really needed to get a job somewhere. So I was like, sure, I can figure that out. And went in knowing absolutely nothing about appraisal or mortgage or real estate at all, other than, having owned a house. I was there for a couple of months and really just fell in love with this space and how it challenged me every day in a different way. Pretty quickly made the decision that I wanted to learn everything about the appraisal and mortgage space and leave teaching behind, much to my dad's dismay.
Aw. I mean, that's so sweet though. Coming from a school teacher, my mom was a school teacher for like 900 years. There's so many challenges that go into being a teacher. I can't even imagine what people face trying to get into it now. So I think, I mean, again, God bless the teachers out there. Keep doing what you're doing. We need to figure out a way to reward and compensate them better. But I
Totally.
love that you were able to kind of take your experience of wanting to be a teacher coming into this industry, because I think so much of what we do is related to having to teach and educate and really explain what this industry actually is on a continual basis. So I love that. I'm sure that that's helped you so much.
Yeah, I agree
What
totally.
what have you done? What have you been doing since the appraisal company?
So since then, I worked at a kind of in the tech space on the mortgage side of things, doing mostly customer success and a bit of sales as well. I think that technology side of things is what I really love to be on. Like I said, I really enjoy the challenges, seeing something different every day, but being in a tech company where you can like really watch things grow and not only your ideas, but other people's ideas come to life is so much fun to see. So that's definitely my favorite part of the industry is being on that side of things. I've never actually been on the mortgage or lender side of it. Always just been more on the vendor side.
I get that. That's so comparable to me. So many people think so. I've been in this now for 22 years in the housing sector as a whole. And because of what I do, so many people do think that I
Yeah.
have MLO experience. And I'm like, the closest thing that I can relate to is, I bought houses and I was a realtor. And so I worked hand in hand with MLOs. And now I've held the MLOs' hands for the past 14 years when it comes to their licensing and education, but I don't have that direct lending experience. So it is really fascinating to be more on the vendor side and to have that bird's eye look into what all goes into this industry. Talk to me about what you're seeing right now in fintech, because I do think things are rapidly changing.
Yeah.
It's crazy right now, and I think there's a real struggle for people to try to, one, adapt fruitfully is the word I'm going to go with. I think there's an inundation of there's so much technology now that people almost get like analysis paralysis. What do you think is kind of the best way that people should approach what vendors and what fintech they're investing in?
I feel like something that's important to people now. So now I'm working at Halcyon. We're primarily doing tax transcripts. So we're taking in data from that, but now we have an income analyzer as well. So we're taking the data from the transcripts and then putting it into an income analyzer. So I think technology where people can do more than one thing people don't want to have 100 different vendors to do things. They want one vendor that they can rely on that does multiple pieces of things. And then having a really strong relationship with that vendor, they need to make sure that they can trust them, that they're taking their feedback, and that they're constantly improving the technology as well. Nobody wants to sign up for something that just gets stale.
That is a great point. That's a great point. I think so much of this industry has been built on legacy contact and connections, and this is the way things have always been done, so this is the way that we're going to continue to do them, and I think a lot of companies have gotten stale because of
Yes.
that, and so we see more and more of these startups coming in that are really challenging the space. And again, I think that kind of lends into the analysis paralysis of now there are so many options that people don't exactly know where to turn. But what do you think is something that when exploring a new vendor relationship, people should be looking for? What's kind of your top 3 things that people should consider?
It's a good question. So I think understanding how the technology works and how it's going to work for your company, making sure that it has like enough stickiness that your team is actually going to use the product. I think that
Mm,
often people resist change. It's just natural, especially brokers, bankers. They have what they're using. It works perfectly fine. They're not super involved in wanting to switch over. So having something that actually makes their life easier and better is worth the sale of buying into that product. And then also obviously having someone that's communicative. You want a support team that's going to get back to you on things. You don't want to just put in a request and then never see it come to life or be addressed. So having a good partner and somebody that listens to you too.
I'm really facing this myself as a vendor in this space, right? Of building out a new company, a new platform, offering online services for the first time since starting up Max Class. And it's been really eye-opening to be a small startup within the space of the things that people do value and the way that we're able to pivot so quickly
Yes.
has been paramount to our online success. And I think that there's something to building that trust with your client base and your customers that you can say, hey, when you reach out, you're actually going to get someone. And I think that's a great lesson for MLOs to take from this of building up trust. What do you think are other ways that people within this space can kind of build up a better sense of trust with their consumers and their customers?
Something that's important to me is transparency. Even if
Mm,
you don't know the answer, tell them you don't know the answer, but tell them that you're going to research it. Don't just leave people waiting for a response. It can be difficult to like go to someone and be like, I just don't know. And neither does anybody here right now and know how to answer your question. But that's okay. We're all humans. And just remembering that it's okay to tell them, I'm looking into this. I'll be back in touch with you. Or no, we can't do this like you're asking for it to be. We can't, map it this way or do whatever you're asking and explaining why that's the case. Just, talking to people like they're people, letting them
yeah.
know like you understand why that this is their request or their need, but how it aligns with the business that you're doing too. So again, transparency and honesty are something that are super important to me.
That makes me think of 2 examples. I remember, like, when I very first started out in the industry and I started on the title side, and I was so hungry for the knowledge, and I was so young. I was 19 when I got into it. By the time I was 20, maybe 21 at the oldest, I was marketing. I was a marketing rep, and so I was going around and trying to get people to use the title company, and because I was so young, I was constantly challenged by people who were pushing up against me to kind of make me prove what I knew to them. And so I felt this incumbency on me that I had to know everything and I had to always have an answer just like that. And it wasn't until my boss at the time said to me, like, LaDonna, it's okay for you to not know everything. Because sometimes when you know just enough, you actually become more of a danger because you don't have the full story and you haven't fully researched before you've given an answer, and that's not a good way to conduct your business.
Yeah.
And that was such a shape-shifting ideology for me of like, "Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right." So I love that you said that. I have another example of this where I have a close industry friend of mine. We're on the road all the time together, so I hear him taking client calls or interacting with his clients, and nothing cracks me up more than the way that he has no problem being so blunt with people when they ask him a question where he'll just be like, "I don't know, my dude. That's a weird question. I don't even know how to answer that. You're gonna have to give me time to look into it." Or he'll flat out say, like, "No, we can't do that, and we're not going to do that." And as a people pleaser, every time I'm just like in awe of how just matter of fact he can be about it. So I love that you're like transparency. Be transparent with
Yeah.
people. That's what they want and that's what they're looking for. So I think that is a fantastic answer. I know. So looping back to how you and I first met and how we connected. So we met, like I said, at the New Jersey MBA conference. And I have to tell you, it was the best because there I was going to dinner. I had just gotten in, just landed, ran into Matt Van Fossen. He was like, "What are you doing? Let's go grab dinner." I was like, "Yeah, let's go." We get into this like shady van,
Minivan.
taxi
Yeah.
van. And he all of a sudden is just like, "Oh, by the way, Heidi's coming with us." I'm like, "Cool. Who's Heidi?" He's like, "Ah, you'll find out in a second." So you come out and I'm like, "Oh my God, who is this like movie star jumping into this shady taxi with us?" You get in and instantly I was just like, "Oh, this is my kind of girl." Like your whole energy, your whole demeanor, I could tell instantly that who you are on the surface is who you are deep down. And you're just this beautiful, incredible, intelligent woman who is just this powerhouse. So it was such an instant connection. And then we get to dinner, and I think we threw Matt off of
We
his.
did.
We did.
We took over the entire dinner.
We did. Matt is a very powerful personality in and of
Yeah.
himself. So for the two of us to just like overrule him, I don't think he saw that coming. And I am so grateful for it because it was just the best. So after that, we just spent that entire week together. And as someone who has been attending the New Jersey MBA events for so many years, I noticed a definitive shift in this event. And when I found out that it was because you were the one behind so much of the changes that I could see and I could feel there, it was not surprising to me in the slightest. It was like, of course she is. Of course she is. Of course this is Heidi's doing. So talk to me a little bit about why your kind of revitalization of these events is so important to you.
Yeah, so I'll go backwards and tell you how I actually ended up getting involved. So I think it was in March, I'm going to say, maybe February. I actually got a call from Matt, and he was like, "We need your help at the New Jersey MBA on the event." And I was like, "Okay." And I was not on the board at the time. And he was like, "It's fine. You can join the committee. We're good. Here's the invite. I'll see you next week on the call." So it very quickly went from like me being on the call and just kind of like taking it in to, everybody then is like, "Oh, can you help with this piece? And can you help with that?" Which is what led me to doing the kissing booth with the dogs.
So cute.
So I kind of saw like what I could do to help them. And I had this dream of doing a kissing booth that started out as a joke at the conference, and talked about it for 2 years, how I wanted dogs to be there. We could do like an animal rescue and raise money for them, and also just get people excited about coming to the conference. So I was like, you know what? I will do everything that you guys need me to do if the dogs can come. Like, I really, really need the dogs to come this year. So they let me just, work it out with the legal team at the Hard Rock, find an animal rescue. And I was able to make all of that happen,
Ah,
which really made the rest of it just like so rewarding because it was like, okay, I can do all these pieces, but at least I got to give back to something that's important to me. I'm a huge animal lover. And again, just it really revitalized the event. Like people were so excited about those puppies, and it just made it like so much lighter and more enjoyable for people, which is my overall goal. I want there to
yeah.
be like experiences there that are unique, and not just so that the attendees that are there have the best time, but those people post all of that. There were so many, you saw them.
Mm.
There were so many pictures of those puppies. I saw one girl, she actually did her headshots with one of the puppies, and they're the
Ah.
cutest thing that she posted on LinkedIn. So like it works out to be marketing. If one person comes because they saw that, that's another person who might bring somebody else the next year. And, going back to like trying to revitalize the organization, growing it back to being what the industry looks like now, not like what it looked like 20
Mm.
years ago. I think that's really, really important.
I think so too. And anyone who's been following along with me, especially over the last year and a half, knows what an advocate I am for live events. I am I am an extroverted extrovert. Like I need
Same.
people around me, right? Like I want people around me 24/7. I want my cocoon of space to be just people all the time. And there's something so special about when you put like-minded people in a space together. And when I
Agreed.
say like-minded, I mean brought together by one core principle, right? We're in this industry together. That in and of itself can be enough of a connecting piece that whatever else may come of it, we can talk about, we can find other commonality in, but we always have that one common connection to keep us grounded and connected to each other. I think it is so underutilized, and I think people don't always see the value of the networking opportunities that can come from being at a live event. And I think so much of that too, given what we went through with COVID,
Yeah,
right? There was such a real separation of people. And it's it it's created and continued to perpetuate this loneliness epidemic that I think so many people are feeling, where even though we've never had more of an opportunity to connect to people with social media, there's a real heartbreaking real life element that's missing.
agreed.
And I love that coming together, putting on these events, having fun, different, unique experiences that people can go and have that instant icebreaker of like, oh my God, did you see the puppy booth? And have
Exactly.
that, right? Like how quickly that can spark a conversation. So I love that you are on that same path. And I think it's just a matter of time before more people really start to come back to them. But it is going to take those unique elements to bring people back into it. What do you think is another way that we can kind of encourage a new demographic to show up to these events? You mentioned a lot of people who are going have been in the industry for 20-ish years, right? Like they're the
Yeah,
people who know what always was. How do we get new people to show up?
that's a good question. That's what I'm still trying to figure out, I guess. Trying to add the different experiences in. It's funny. I have a lot of friends that are even my age, and I talk to them about the New Jersey MBA, and they're like, I wouldn't go to that. Like, there's no value to be had there. And it's like, there is so much value to be had there. That's where my entire little mortgage family started, was at that event. So it's also part of it is like you get what you give. So if
Mm,
you're going there and you're not going to the events, it's easier for some people like us. We're extroverts. We go there and we love walking around a room and talking to people and finding things in common. Um, that's not as easy for other people. So that's why it's even
mm.
more important to have like structured things for them to do. Like the puppies, you're saying the puppies, like that's something easy someone can talk about who doesn't know what else to say to you. They can talk about the puppies. Some other experiences that we're early on talking about are like a cigar party or like doing top golf, because when people are doing an activity like that together, that's something else they have in common. I won't be at the cigar party, but the people who will
Right.
be all have something else in common besides mortgage that they can talk about.
Yeah.
And the same with top golf. Like that's so much fun. Even if you're terrible, people will remember that you were terrible. And as long as you can laugh about it, you can have a good time. So having other things like that is like a long-term goal for me to add in. Like I said, I didn't really jump in and start helping with this last event until March, which was in June. So like it was a very short time to get things together. Now that we're looking at, having months of planning time ahead is when I'm really looking at trying to do other things like this to make it even bigger and better. And like you're saying, draw in a different crowd of people, and show people again how much value there really is.
No, I love that. I think it's beyond time. I think that sometimes I don't want to say a changing of the guard, but a little bit. Sometimes bringing in new faces and allowing people who have served their time, but who maybe aren't fully contributing to the revitalization efforts. It's a good thing to call that out and to say like, "Hey, look, you were great. You were instrumental to the success of this in the past, but we need to open up new pathways to get new and fresh ideas in here." I mean, literally today, there was a Facebook post by my friend Kobe, a heckler, where he went through, outlined something, and at first I was like, "My dude, I don't agree with you on this." And he came back and gave me a few more points, and instantly I was like, "Oh my gosh, my like digging my heels in on the old way is what is preventing innovation for myself." I don't want that. And I
Yeah.
don't want that on these boards, at these events, etc. I think that it stifles opportunity and stifles growth. And I'm okay to be vocal about that and to say, like, if you're not actually contributing and adapting and evolving to what is needed now, it might be best to tip your hat and to say, you know what, I'm gonna release this space for someone else to come in so that there are those fresh ideas out there. What do you what's kind of an initiative or goal that you have for the next year that you're really excited about?
To add to the other thing, I just want to say, I mean, even Tom Brady had to retire. The best of the
Right?
best, they still have their
Yes.
time. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that you didn't do a great job and that you're not great, but it's just time to let, young, fresh people and ideas come in at some point too.
Bingo, bingo. You have to know when to call it. I mean, we've seen people who have tried to hang on for too long, and in the end, it really just I don't know. There's kind of a sadness
I was
that
going to say, it
comes
makes me
along.
very sad to see that
Yeah,
they can't let go because they're not leaving their legacy as it deserves to be left. They're selling
bingo,
themselves short, and I think that that can be hard to watch from afar
bingo.
and see these people that are great and they're amazing, but it's just time to things are changing, and that constantly happens.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I guess if anything, just driving home that point of it's okay to evolve and it's okay to recognize that if you aren't part of the evolution, it's all right to open that space up for someone else. That's not a bad thing. If anything, it might actually end up looking better for you.
Yeah.
So, yes, love that point. Love that. Okay, so looking forward, what's new,
For
what's
next
exciting
year.
coming ahead?
So we are planning our next event already. I was actually down in Atlantic City yesterday working on some event planning. So we are hoping to have everything live with some like preliminary agendas by the end of the month. So that's very exciting. We are planning to move the conference from June to March after a ton of feedback at the conference that everybody missed March. That wouldn't be my idea. I liked being outside on the boardwalk, but that's okay. I'll take the feedback and we'll go back to March. So we're looking at doing it in March. I definitely want to bring the puppies in again. I think that that's like a good staple to have. And then, looking at adding in some other types of experiences that aren't just like this stale cocktail party that people don't love coming to. So trying to make things just a little bit more unique, while still keeping them as an opportunity for people to really network and meet other like-minded people in our space, but having it be a little bit more fun for them.
At the end, what to you felt like, yes, you had done it? This was a successful event.
So I had my daughter come down for exhibit hall day of the conference. And I think that that was really like the moment that I just felt so great about everything that we did and getting to share it with her. Just having her come walk the conference floor, something that she's heard me talk about a million times, but having like the honor of having her there for a couple of hours. We brought her to one of the cocktail parties and she just sat there and sipped an ice water with us. And it was so fun to just involve her in it as well. She was really proud of everything that I worked on. And it was kind of like a switch. I'm always so proud of her. But in this instance, we kind of got to switch and I got to see that through her eyes and how proud she was to have me there.
I have like almost this exact thing coming up where next week I just got back I guess technically this morning it was like 2 a.m. when I got home. But I had my daughter with me in Chicago for a networking event for a book that I helped co-author that's coming out soon. And there was something so sweet about having her there with me and kind of seeing my life on the road. And so we're doubling up. She's going with me next week to La Jolla and she's going to work the expo with me and then come do the class with me the next day. And it was exactly that motivation of, I want you to see what goes into this. I want you to see what life looks like and what I'm building and why I'm doing it and feel that energy in the air and know that, we're building something even bigger than what you see when you just hear me talk about it. I think that's
Exactly.
such a beautiful thing. Ah,
It is. It's hard for them to understand or like visualize what you're doing. I mean, they're just going, they go to school every day, they see those pieces. Another thing that just want to add here again, teachers are amazing. Love teachers. My very best friend is a teacher, very underpaid, the best
very.
people though. But like my daughter, like many little girls, she wants to be a teacher. And that's partially
Mm.
because that's all she knows. That's all
Ah,
that she's getting to see every day. And she values her teachers so much. They mean the world to her. But like it's so important to get the experience to go out and see that there's other things out there that are also really fun and amazing, like the mortgage industry.
yeah.
So like including her in those pieces just so she can see like bigger world things that are out there that I feel like I probably necessarily didn't get to see. And that's why
Mhm.
teaching felt like what I was supposed to do until it wasn't. So it's important to just include them and they can actually, like you're saying, experience it, feel the energy of the room and of the people. And it's just different than us explaining it to them.
I hadn't really thought about this. That's so funny because like I said, my mom was a school teacher. And so, of course, I railed against that idea where I was like, oh, I know what goes into that. I will never do that. And now I have an education company, right? So
Yeah,
it's kind of that funny. Find, you find your ways. You find your ways. You find your niches. You figure out the elements of the things that you love and being able to draw back to them in a different environment
exactly.
sometimes can be just a game changer for people. I do really I know that I'm like soapboxing on this probably every episode for anyone who listens consistently. They've heard me talk about it a billion times. I'm such a firm believer that we have to get more young people into this industry, and not just like down the road. I'm talking like tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
this needs to be happening right now as we speak. And it is incumbent on us as the people in this industry to be bringing young people into it and to show them what makes it interesting and to show them what is so incredible about helping families and people and friends get into houses and what that can really do for people, but also showing all of the other facets that go into it. That it's not just the one size fits all approach. You don't have to just be a realtor. You don't have to just be an MLO. You can work in the vendor space. You can work on the tech space. You can work in the education space. Don't come for the education space. I like my
I'm
space.
out there.
Stay out of here. No, I mean, and I say that jokingly because I really am a firm believer in competition. And I think competition does drive innovation. And I think that's probably part of why I like the idea of having young people brought in, because I see the potential innovating effects that can come from that. Any ideas on your side of things, how we get young people into it?
I think they definitely need to find ways where they can feel included early on. So
Mm,
like having a committee that's kind of like in an organization that's dedicated towards those younger people. It's really scary walking into a room, especially when you're younger. I don't feel like you have the same confidence that you do after like not only being in a space, but just that comes with age. Like if I had been 20 and walking into one of these rooms by myself, I would have been terrified. So just like
mhm.
having something where they're already walking in with people that they know. So something that we do with the New Jersey MBA, we have a women's committee. Our slogan is "No Woman Left Behind." So like if
Aw,
we see a woman at the conference, it does not matter if we know her or not. Like we are gathering her, talking to her, making sure that she has a good time and that she gets to meet people and that she's not left as that person kind of like on the outskirts watching, not knowing where to fit in. So I think that same concept with like the young MBA groups that are out there, that needs to happen too. Like any conference that's happening, if they can just have one friend, if you have one friend that you're going in with, it changes your entire experience. So
yeah.
just finding ways to include them in things, um, and also hearing their perspective. It's important. Like you said, that's where we get their energy and understand like what's important to different generations. So really like listening to their perspective on things also.
Oh, I love that. Not just going into it with a pure like mentorship mentality. I think it's important to have that component to it, but to also treat it as that type of value exchange of I'm learning from you just as much as you're learning from me.
Totally.
I need to see how you think and what appeals to you so that we can adjust accordingly.
Exactly. More like a relationship than just a mentorship. Because I
Yes.
think that their perspective is going to be so unique from someone who's been in the space for 30 years, and you're going to miss their fresh ideas if it's really just like, mentoring or coaching them to know what you know. There's always something to be learned from other people.
Agreed. Agreed. All right, my girl. You are amazing.
So
Thank
yeah,
you so much. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this. This has been phenomenal. I can talk to you forever and ever and ever. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
the best place is on LinkedIn. So I'm on there with the middle initial G. So Heidi G. Belnay. Would love to connect with all of you and hope to talk to you guys soon.
Perfect. You're amazing. Thank you for taking it to the max with me. And we'll chat again soon.
All right. Thank you.